there was respect from killers today.
It's
Like
almost thieves.
there's respect. Like growing up in the hood, like we had killers around, and they would never impose their will on kids. Like we grew up, young when we was going Stanley Pleasant Grove. We grew up in Buckner, apartments over there. Like there was killers in there, but it was never one of those things where it was like, you had to fear for your child to be out in the apartments because, like, man, these killers over here, they gonna kill the babies. It was never nothing like that. I remember this individual. His nickname was Pep, and we was standing in Buckner, and he was a known shooter, and I was so young and gullible, and he was just hanging out at the park or whatever, and everybody was kind of crowding around him because he kind of had that aura of who he was, and they knew who he was, and he was kind of quiet. He didn't say a lot on whatever, but you just kind of knew on whatever. Um, and I walked up to the guy. And he said, and I had a football in my hand. He said, "Man, you don't play no football." I said, "Yes, I do." And I called the man Pepsi.
I remember that.
I called the man Pepsi. And I don't know if he was so caught off guard about my approach to him, but he kind of chuckled. He chuckled and was like, "Boy, get out of here." Or whatever. And ever since that, every day after that, when I seen him, he'll give me $1 or something like that or whatever, and he was just like, "Stay out of trouble." "Oh, what you doing?" Or I remember one time I was hanging out in the back of the apartments, and I don't know if something was going on back there. He was like, "What you doing back here?" "Man, y'all need to go up here." And they would send all the kids to the front of the apartments. "Man, y'all need to get from back here. It's hot." Stuff like that. Like we don't have that no more. We got individuals like that will put a gun into a little kid's hand and tell him, "Man, if you want to be cool or you want to be down, then you need to go do this. Go put in some work." And now you have this little old kid who wants to be accepted, thinking that this is the way that I need to be accepted. See, back in my day, if you want to be accepted, you just had to fist fight. That was kind of the thing. Like, it wasn't like gunplay. It was a lot of people who play with guns, but he was just like one individual that I remember that was, that was like that. When I, just first meeting outside of my family members, um, that I was first meeting, and I was so young at the time. I couldn't have been no more, maybe 5 or 6 years old at the time. I was probably in kindergarten, maybe, and don't even know to be scared. Like, you don't even know what to fear. You barely know better, at 5 or 6 years old. And you just walk up to this man, and everybody just kind of pause and look, and nobody really said anything. I don't know if people were scared to laugh or what, but everybody just kind of, because they knew who he was, so everybody just kind of paused and looked, and nobody said nothing. And I'm sitting there like, "Yeah, Pepsi, Pepsi," and I'm sitting there rubbing it in this man's face.
At the time, it was not funny, but looking back, it was hilarious. It was
And no,
hilarious.
and nobody laughed, and somebody told me later, like, "Man, you just call that man Pepsi? You know what that is?" I was like,
Oh,
"His
that
name
word.
funny." I was like, "It's short for Pep. It's short for Pepsi." And then people started telling me who he was, and then that's when I started to kind of trying to put some respect on his name. I didn't call him Pepsi no more out of that. I ain't pushed my luck. Call him Pepsi. He might have smacked me up or something like that. But I didn't push my luck. But that day I sure did. It was a crowd of people at the park, and I walked right up to this man's face and called this man this right dead in his face. And everybody, and then it got quiet. Everybody's talking or whatever. Everybody's just hanging out, at the park or whatever. And I'm probably the youngest one out there. And I just walk up to this man right in his face, looked him right in his face. Cause somebody was like, "Yeah, you know who that is? That's Pep right there." I'm like, "Oh, it's Pep." And I walked up to this man, I was like, Pepsi. And he kind of looked at me or whatever. And I think it just kind of registered in my like, oh, this is a little kid or whatever. Because to anybody else, that would probably been disrespectful, you know. But he kind of seemed as a little kid, like, oh, you know, I don't know no better. He kind of chuckled, like, man, move on, you know, whatever. And so, but everybody else was kind of quiet. They didn't know what to laugh. They didn't know. Everybody didn't know. Everybody just kind of looked like, what are you doing? Or whatever.
Like I can say it's funny now. At the time, it was touch and go.